Hey guys, so you may or may not know what this stream is about. I messed up. I admit it. I admit it. So what happened is that I made a I said something that I didn't really think too much about, and I guess some people sent out certain messages and certain comments. It was not good, and as a result of that, um, yeah, I heard about it, and I, I like, I think, how do I put it this way? I heard about it, and I just feel pretty bad. And okay, so I don't want to make a mountain out of a molehill, but the reason why I said certain things is because I was just being very honest. I had this I've been going through all like different types of foods and different types of recipes, and I was trying to figure out, what works, what doesn't work, and then sometimes it doesn't work out or sometimes taste buds change. And yeah, it's just like when I thought about prepping, I've been kind of worried because I thought, man, if, stuff hits the fan, what kind of food will be tolerable. And I know that certain people would say, well, food is food, but I think taste is important too. So yeah, and then I guess some people, they heard what I said, and they heard my thoughts about how many different like veggie patties I've gone through, and how some of them it's like doesn't want to eat it anymore. I get it, and yeah, it's like I know this is a really broken up stream of thought here, but let's just put it this way. I don't know. I don't know how. I just really had to watch my mouth, and I did it. So yeah, I feel bad. I feel really bad about things, and I understand why people did certain things. I get it. It's because they probably saw things and wanted to point things out. But um, yeah, it's just not a good feeling. That's all. Yeah. I guess it's just like kind of tough because it's like I didn't really think about things. Like I said, I just like I was just being open about certain things, and I didn't really think like, okay, if I say certain things, like what would the repercussion about things be? And it was just very candid. And yeah, I didn't have the foresight to see, what would happen as a result of that. And it just, I don't know. I just feel like I kind of um, did some horrible betrayal of sorts, just voicing, how worried I was, or how I felt about, okay, it's like I try all these different things, and it just doesn't seem to work out food wise. And yeah, so anyway, some people, they they um they sent, you know comments about it. And again, I have this really bad habit of myself. I've been told this a bunch of times, but I get why people did what they did, and ultimately it falls on me. You know, I said something that I didn't really think too much about at the time, and yeah, it just it, I guess, you know, it's like I have to really deal with it. And yeah, anyway, it's just yeah, so um I don't know if I really have to deal with that problem anymore. I just um at all. And yeah, um that's all I'm gonna say about it. It's a learning lesson for me, because usually when I say things, I don't really think too much about repercussions. I don't really think too much about, you know, how other people would react about something that I just see as like a quirk. You know, some people have personality quirks, other people have things that grate them, things that don't grate them, things that people, yeah, each person is different. So um I didn't take that into account when I said that stuff on that stream. And it's just yeah. So I don't know. I feel like I kind of failed, um, and or yeah, I just feel like I kind of failed on that. And as much as like I kind of play things back and, you know, think about things, I I fail to kind of understand, like, okay, if I say something like that, you know, will it, you know, what could be the result of that. And yeah, that was a fail on my part. So yeah, moving forward, I am probably gonna disclose a lot less in terms of some stuff. I mean, I really didn't see it as that big of a deal. I know other people, they deal with picky eaters, and you know, some people grow up with them, and it's, you kind of just want to work your way around it, right? You just want to find, like, okay, if you do know someone who is a picky eater, you know, find something that they like, or um, you know, try to find out at least what they don't like, and then work through there. If they don't like this kind of food, then okay, don't make them that kind of food anymore. And yeah, I've heard of picky eaters before. You just, like I said, it's just one of those things. You just try to find a solution to it. But because of what I had said, and because of what people said and commented, um, it was not I it got back to me, and I just don't feel too great about it. So I'll leave it at that. Yeah. Um, I don't know. It's like I didn't disclose that stuff because I was feeling, you know, vindictive, or I was really, you know, I had a lot of hatred within me or anything like that. It was more like I was just sharing, like, oh, okay, you know, I try to find all these different things, and yeah, I've gone through so many different patties, and the patties, you know, it's just like I feel like I've tried every single one on the shelf, or I bought every single one on the shelf, and then it turns into, okay, which one makes the list? Okay, never mind. This one doesn't make the cut anymore. Okay, yeah, I have a bunch of them still stuck in the freezer. Crap, what do I do with it? And yeah, it's like I've always tried to work around it, but sharing that kind of information, some people had some thoughts about it. I get it. I understand why they said what they said. You know, some people have this feeling that even if you do not like the food, or even if you are not okay with what's being served to you, then you should eat it. And you know, that is the right thing, or that is the polite thing to do. And yeah, But you, of course, everybody has a right, right? If someone gives you food, you have the right to decline it. You have the right to not eat it. And I get it. I get it. You know, for me, it's like it kind of sucks, as you can imagine, right? You know, I'm a human being, so it kind of sucks when I find out that something I made doesn't meet the standard. But I try to work around it and do it that way. So yeah, um, yeah. So I'm not gonna repeat what was said, but yeah, I feel like as a result of disclosing that piece of information, which I didn't think was that big of a deal at the time. I just thought, okay, you know, this is something that other people have dealt with. Some people, you know, there's some people who have like quirks and personality traits that is kind of unusual or kind of unique. They just work around it. But anyway, so some people had some thoughts about it, and yeah. It wasn't I heard about it. I got messaged about it, so yeah. Um but I just I didn't think it through. I didn't think it through. So yeah, so I yeah. I mean, I don't really think there is no one size fits all solution. You guys know that. It's not like, you know, people they always you know, things are ever changing and I recognize that. I do, but um yeah. I yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to clear up any misunderstandings that people may have had. It um that disclosure which I just I I was just kind of thinking out loud and I was just saying things because it's, you know, it's like I thought that's a real issue, you know, in case any, like I said, in case anything happens, right? I want to make sure that if it's a terrible situation, try to make it a little bit more bearable taste wise. And I know that canned goods are very limited in flavor. I know that. Oreo, stop that. I know that it's you know there's survival food and then there's food that you enjoy. Oreo, what are you doing? Oreo, come over here. What is that? Come here. Come here. Come here, my handsome. Come on. Come on. Oh, you get him. My little guy came over here. But yeah, it's like that was my whole Oreo, come on. That was my whole reasoning behind it, and yeah, it's just it's something when you tell people this on the internet, and then sometimes you know people will just Oreo. What are you doing? Um, People will just go and you know voice their comments, or they'll say things directly to that person, and depending on what's said, it could just you know it might be some really terrible things. Um, so yeah, I just yeah. Oreo, stop that! What are you doing, Oreo? You hear him? Yeah. So yeah. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah. I think that's why certain people, when they do make videos on YouTube, that's probably why some things are like heavily edited or heavily filtered. So that way, you know, you can selectively like make sure it passes screening and everything is kind of, you know, hunky dory or fine and dandy and nothing is kind of, you know, controversial or can cause people to have heated feelings. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You see those people who make these videos and then maybe they'll just take a slice of it and then just like wash out everything else, and it provides a very cut and clean and PG friendly and sugar cookies and heart stars and rainbows sort of thing about life. But when I do my live streams, you guys see reality. You guys see the stuff that I'm working through. You guys see the stuff that, I disclose to you, like things on my mind, whether it be something like, I don't know if I really want to keep this piece of, this beanbag or not. I don't know if I want to keep the shelf here or not. Or, just things that I just kind of, the things just like, oh, okay, I've had this on my mind about da 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 da, and I want your opinion about it. And yeah, it's definitely, I didn't really take into account the other person, um, and what could happen. So yeah. Yeah, sometimes when people talk about things and they're talking to, let's say, someone else, right? They're just gonna put out the stuff that kind of passes the screening room or the edit room, and it gets kind of like the thumbs up from everybody. But when I do my live streams, of course, it's just me and the cats most of the time, and you guys, you guys get to see like a glimpse of things. And Oreo, what are you doing? Oreo, are you really scratching that Roomba? Come on now. Oreo. Oreo, come on. Come over here. Stop scratching stuff, Oreo. You got a scratching post. Come here. You hear that? It's like Morse code. Oreo. 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 Okay. Come here. Anyway, yeah, it is a drawback. It is a drawback to doing a live stream. You see some people like they say certain things like when they're in talk shows or if they're having an interview. Sometimes they let things slip, and yeah, it's like they didn't really think about things, and I definitely didn't really think about things. But I think I have to definitely draw the line moving forward. What do I disclose? If it's anything about my own personal life, I don't really care. um, I know what I'm disclosing, but if it's relating to someone else or that person is probably identifiable, then I should be a lot more selective about it. So that is the learning experience for me, and I am going to wait for things, to you know move on, shall I say? Yeah. Yeah, I also have I know I have like at least one or two of my relatives who watch my streams every so often. So I've always used my live streams as a way to also keep in touch with family. Sometimes people like I haven't seen for a long time, they watch my streams and they see what I'm doing, and um I also have family members who tell me stuff like, Erica, stop dumpster diving. Like, if you dumpster dive, like that looks terrible. What are people going to what are people gonna people are gonna think terribly of you, so stop that. And I understand where they're coming from. I really, really do. And I tell them, I say, yeah, it's a kind of little too late for that. I think it's been pretty well documented. um, and I don't think that there's anything bad about showing that kind of stuff. Life is all about experiences. Life is about trying different things and, just kind of throwing yourself um, into things that you may be interested. For me, I was interested in dumpster diving, so I started dumpster diving, and then I showed you guys all these, finds that I found. And I met people and I got to learn more about them, know about their consumption habits, their thoughts about consumerism, how they save money, and they're generally dumpster divers are very kind and compassionate people. They care a lot about the homeless, and they're very giving people. So unlike what people may think about dumpster divers being, whatever. They tend to be some very eco-friendly, very charitable people. At least the ones that I've met. Yeah, but it's really it's interesting to go dumpster diving in New York, and I think it's because everything is kind of laid out there. Normally, I would be going diving Monday, Wednesday, Friday or so, but um, I've been kind of holding back, and especially when I have, you know, certain times of the month. I don't like I don't like really working out or going out too much. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. It's getting colder, and to be frank with you guys, it's I feel like such a sissy because part of me doesn't really want to go out and dumpster dive at the cold. If it's 30 degrees or if it's snowing, I really, really, really don't want to go dumpster diving. I want to stay warm. I want to have my mittens on. I don't really want to expose myself out of the elements, standing over a trash bag grabbing stuff. It's not the most pleasant thing to do when you're cold, and I get cold really easily. I shared with you guys in one of my community posts that to open up these bags, you cannot do it with gloves. You have to take your gloves off. And that means for me to undo these knots, I need to have my hands in the shivering cold and grab this stuff out, put it into, a box or container, and hope my hands don't freeze. Yeah. So, it's not illegal, and at least not in New York. Once it hits the sidewalk, it's considered public property. So although that you might have people who say, "Hey, you can't do that," they can't do anything about it because once they put on the sidewalk, they're forfeiting it. So it's no longer theirs to kind of claim ownership over. So the dumpster divers are really, really I would say they're a pretty big part in helping feed the community, at least from what I see. There's a lot of people who rescue food, who intercept food going over to the dumpsters. If people see that, hey, there is a distributor, let's say a produce distributor who's dumping like boxes and boxes of tomatoes out constantly, they may go over to the distributor and say, hey, we noticed that you have so many boxes of tomatoes. Can we coordinate with you and work with a bunch of drivers so that way this stuff does not end up in the landfills? And sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't work out. If it doesn't work out, then you'll have these kind of like guerrilla dumpster divers going in and collecting things and doing it themselves, which is what I do. So yeah, I think those people are, you know, quite quite awesome. And I think that if the trash situation did change in New York, that would actually be terrible for the community since we do have a bunch of community fridges over in around the state. So I can't do that. I can't do that in Hawaii. If I was in Hawaii, you would not see any dumpster diving from me. There's compactors galore. Second of all, dumpster diving is illegal. I had a few years ago. I was kind of interested in dumpster diving, and I remember one of my exes asked the person in the police academy because he wanted to become a police officer, so he was training for that. And he found out that according to the police instructor or the sergeant or whatever it is, they said no, dumpster diving is illegal. So technically, I could get in trouble if I did that in Hawaii, and maybe that's why we don't really see dumpster divers in Hawaii. Yeah, yeah. I don't know where people would be even a freaking in Honolulu. Now that I think about it. I rarely see dumpsters out, and if I do see dumpsters out, it's kind of far and few between because it's like I said, it's compactor heaven in Hawaii. Do I worry about needles or other nasty stuff? To be honest with you, no, I don't. And the reason why I don't worry about that stuff is whenever I open this stuff, I know what's inside of it. So if I'm hitting up a grocery store, I'm not, of course, the produce guy is not going to throw in a needle with that. I'm also wearing gloves and I have a headlamp or I even have a flashlight on me. So I know exactly where I'm grabbing. It's not like I'm just kind of grabbing in the dark. So divers who are familiar with the area, they know exactly when certain dumpsters are going out. So food dumpsters, let's say you hit this certain place up, you expect it to be around out at 6:30. You go there at 6:45, 7 o'clock. You'll see it outside, and then you usually have a few people also, waiting for the dumpster or seeing things as well. Most people, they like 95% of the people I've come across who are also dumpster divers, they're very nice people. But then you got the 5% who's kind of like jerks or assholes who want the whole freaking dumpster to themselves. It's kind of weird, but they get weirdly territorial over it and they want people to back up so they can look through the whole dumpster themselves. But I've only come across that a few times. So yeah, I don't worry about that stuff. I would highly recommend if anybody is thinking about diving or dumpster diving, make sure you have gloves, make sure you have a headlamp. A headlamp is really great. I don't like using flashlights too much, but I'll use flashlights when I try to be a little bit more discreet. Walking around in Manhattan in a headlamp and black gloves screams dumpster diver. And that might not seem like a bad thing to some people, but for me, I kind of want to do things on the down low. I don't want management seeing me and thinking, "Oh, okay, hey, we got these like real dumpster divers coming out over here." No, I have no dive buddy. A lot of divers, they tend to work alone unless they're in some kind of community group. But if you go on like Facebook and you see these like dumpster diving groups, you'll see how they are. You'll see these people show their hauls. They have yeah, there's various dumpster diving groups, and then there's dumpster diving Reddit as well. And I like that. So I like seeing what people get, and yeah, they find some really good stuff. Some people, they find a lot of candy bars. I never ever ever find I never found like a M&M or a Twix bar. I found gummy bears, but uh it's not chocolate. Yeah. It's not like a whole box of M&Ms or a whole box of Snickers bars. Some people find that. I don't find that. Yeah, I don't know what Oreo is doing. I think he's just howling for some weird reason. And he doesn't want cuddles because I did try to cuddle with him earlier and he didn't want any of that. Any of that. So, yeah. Mm, only two gum. Yes, of one. Jeez. Yeah, I don't think in the U.S. they can redate old meat for sure. I think that's very illegal to do. In New York, they allegedly have pretty high food standards, or at least in the U.S. I think you're only supposed to have like cut fruit out. You're supposed to throw it out every day or every 2 days. Of course, you got some places like that one supermarket I showed you guys, they had the fresh fruit out for like a month. Can you imagine that? Dating out like a cut apple out and then putting the sell by date a month out. Crazy, crazy. But that's what people do in New York. They do anything to try and make a buck or stretch a buck, shall I say? And that is not very cool. Yeah. So anyway, anyway, yeah, so moving forward, my channel is I have to really kind of think about what I disclose, and yeah, um, it kind of sucks, but yeah, it was a learning experience, and I just felt really really bad about what I was told was being sent, and yeah, yeah, so, and yeah, I don't know, but I just didn't really think it out. Yeah, yeah, like I get it, like I really do. I think people said certain things because they probably thought like, man, it's, you know, about the situation, and but yeah, it just whenever you say certain things, it's very important to be kind of cognizant what the reaction will be, right? So the reaction could be good, or it could be I don't care, or it could be not so good reaction, and that's something I really didn't take into account for. And yeah, today I definitely know. So yeah, I just got to be a little bit more mindful on that, and for any yeah, yeah. So yeah, I will talk to you guys later. This was a really terrible video. I just think I had a lot of pauses, and I know I'm not the best public speaker, and I know that I have a lot of things to work on in terms of being engaging with my audience, but I guess I try to just take it one day at a time, and that's how life is. Every day you kind of have an opportunity to get better, or be a better person, or move forward, and it's important to just kind of keep that in mind, and and not just feel bad about kind of messing up one day big time, and thinking that like shit, this is really 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 bad. So I'm gonna look forward to this, and yeah, just change my ways. um, Hopefully this kind of stuff doesn't happen again. We will see. But yeah. What is it, Clinton? Huh? What is it? What is it? What is it? Why are you all so dirty, Clinton? What did you roll around? Jeez. Are you in that cardboard over there? Yeah, I think the thing is when I'm live streaming with you guys, because I see some of you guys here every single day, and you guys share with me things about you, and I share with things about me. I feel kind of comfortable, I feel pretty comfortable to kind of just share like, hey, this is like one thing that's kind of on my mind, and I don't know how to really work at this thing. Like, do you guys have a solution to this? Or, what should I move this here or there? Or, how do I hang this stuff? Like, I don't know. And you guys have always been so incredibly helpful and so incredibly caring that when I do kind of live streams, I don't really have that much of a filter on, because I don't really think about those kind of things. I know some people, they have the auto filter on, and they know exactly what they feel, what they want to share publicly, and what they don't want to share publicly. And what I mean by that is that you will see some people who are live streamers, and they're very, very, very aware about what their audience wants to hear, what their audience doesn't want to hear, and they're able to self filter even if they are doing, having this conversation, having all sorts of like random conversations. And yeah, for me it's like I don't think about that kind of stuff at all. I'm just me. So I didn't really think things through, and I didn't really think about, okay, what if someone sees this, and what if someone does, send something or doesn't, I didn't really take that into account. So yeah, but things happened, and I heard about it, and yeah, I just felt really bad about it. So yeah. Anyway, so take that as a lesson. I'm pretty sure most of you guys don't do any live streams, and you guys won't put yourself in situations where you talk about someone and then the rest of the people know who that someone is, and that person is easily reachable. Like it's like people on Reddit, if they say something like, hey, I got into this with my significant other, and or hey, this is a little weird thing that's going on with my mom, let's say, right? And it's like you don't know. First of all, you don't know who that person, the poster, is, and then you don't know who that person's mom is, so you can't contact that person's mom even when you have something, one of those like advice kind of threads. You know what I'm saying? But with with live streaming, and because you know what my channel is and you know who the other person's channel is, it's very accessible. Yeah, I learned that today. So, um, yeah, yeah, it is. Yeah, so yeah, it's just one of those things, and I I didn't really think much about it. I've shared things about myself that didn't put myself in a good light, and you guys have, said things, and I'm like, yes, I know, I know. And then I've also, I know my family members talk all sorts of things about me to other people, and I'm like, yeah, 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 I know, it happens. Not too happy about it, but it happens. But it's a whole nother level when you got people, not just one person, but who knows how many people seeing certain things, and then they say things, and then they're able to just send it directly. Yeah. I know, Jim. I know. So Jim sent something over to the store, and I haven't been over to the store, and but we did get it in, and I remember I told Louis, I said, "Hey, do you want to bring it home?" And then he told me it's heavy, so I said, "Oh, frick, it's heavy." And I know that he's not going to want to carry it on a little shopping bag or something. It might affect his steering in whatever way. So he's just going to leave it at the store, and I need to go over to the store and see what is over there. So when I do go over to the store, hopefully on Monday or Wednesday, I will check it out. But thank you for sending it. That was really thoughtful of you. And yeah, it was a complete surprise. And for you guys, some people actually send like little cards to me at the store, and I think it's pretty sweet. It's Yeah, it's something that I wasn't expecting. Most of the time, whenever I see stuff, it's always like, Lewis, you're the man. Lewis, you're so awesome. And I'm like, yeah, yeah. I'm just so used to everything being addressed to him, and understandably so. He works really hard at his business, and he really tries to advance like the right to repair stuff, and he spends a lot of time, researching things and speaking to people, and kind of keeping his finger on the pulse about what's going on. And yeah, it's not like when he comes home, he just kind of like mentally clicks off or anything. He is always, basically always thinking about work, or ways to help the things that he believes in, and it's his mind is always on. And yeah, it's crazy, but I think that's why he's able to get so much things done compared to a lot of other people. You know, he just kind of throws his all into his work and his you know, everything that he like I said, like he believes in, really, like basically 23/7, always just kind of focused on work. Yeah. So yeah, so I, like I said, so him getting all those fan nails, like when I see it, I just see it like, wow, people recognize like all the stuff that he does. uh uh Dora. Yeah, 23/7 basically. I think even when, okay, maybe not. Let's see. He sleeps about 7 hours, 7, 8 hours a day. So yeah, minus when he sleep. I don't know. He could be dreaming about work too. I wouldn't be surprised if he dreams about computer stuff while he's sleeping. But it basically all his waking hours is either dedicated to researching things or working or uh, talking to people and exchanging information about things that are that I have a really hard time at grasping and understanding. I can be very honest about that. I'm a really simple person. I have really simple things that interest me. Dumpster diving interests me. Interior design interests me. You know, trying to make the world a better place interests me. And it's not like high level technology sort of thing, or you know, political topics, or new discoveries, whatever they may be. You know, yeah, it's yeah. So, but his work is basically his it's his baby in his life. It's right. So um, instead of, you know, instead of being, you know, preoccupied with other things, like, you know, so many people have other distractions, right? He's able to hyper focus on things that really matter to him and spend a lot of time on that. No. So, but for where he has gotten in life, he puts, you know, a lot of work into it, and you know it's very well deserved. I'll just leave it at that. I don't know anybody else who has his work ethic, and I say this as someone who has met a number of people, you know, people who, you know, of all different age groups. And yeah, it's like, the people that I know, that the hardest working ones that I knew, at least in Hawaii, it's like sometimes the lines blurred between work and life balance, and they, you know, they were able to, like, they work very hard but they play very hard too. So they might do these like long stretches of working, but then they make sure that they kind of go all out on the play thing too. But for him, it's basically his work is his, shall I say, his manifesto of sorts. So yeah, I don't get, I don't get in the way of his work. And if anybody ever thought, hey, Erica, you know, you were distracting him from his stuff, no, that is not the case. It's very clear, and the lines are very drawn that when he is working, you know, do not bother him, do not, you know, don't distract him, because he's very serious when he works, and he doesn't want anybody to bother him and anybody to kind of mess up his mess up whatever task he has set in mind. Yeah, so yeah. Um yeah, so some people I know, when they have significant others, there's a possibility that they lose focus on what they do, and um they lose focus on what they do, and they relax a little bit more. They how do I say this? They spend more time recreationally, um, doing other things that they normally wouldn't do, shall I say. But for him, I think it's kind of like business as usual. It's it's very, I don't get in the way of his work at all. I never intend to distract him from anything, but sometimes I do, because it's like I want to talk to him, but he's busy and doing stuff, and yeah. But anyway, in case, oh goodness, um, yeah, it is. And a lot of small businesses, it is a it is a very important time, because with the restrictions being put in place, they have to, manage. I heard restaurants are being closed down, or they're going to be asked to close, and gyms as well, or um, yeah. I think that people who can do it's rare for a person to have a job that we work and play. Well, I think most people I know, they have the set 40 hours a week, or they have times that they work, let's say 8 to 4, and then after 4 p.m., then they can kind of mentally check out from work and then focus on other things, focus on enjoying their life, or focus on doing whatever else they want to do. But uh, if you have a life where you have so much responsibility, I can understand why it's a little, it's a, you're not going to be able to do the whole 8 to 4 thing and then just mentally check out at, let's say, 4:01. Yeah, that is one of those things where there's just a lot more responsibility, and yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I think, I don't know. Dora says this is why I've always been employee too lazy. If you are someone like a union employee, and you're not in a supervisor role, then and you don't have to take your work with you, it is definitely easy. In Hawaii, one of the things that people really want to do is work for the state of Hawaii, work for a government job, and just collect their, let's say, $43,000 a year with their, it seems like, I think it's like 1 month paid vacation or something. I know, I think it's 2 weeks paid vacation, and then you also get 2 weeks of sick leave if you work for a state of Hawaii job. And geez, it's so lax. It really is lax. I knew a person who used to work for state of Hawaii, and it's like I felt like they didn't really do much all day. They were just, they were kind of going on the computer, playing video games, not video games, but like chatting and Facebooking and things like that. And they were getting paid. They were getting paid to just kind of be there present in case, I guess, anybody needed them. But the work was kind of short, and there wasn't that much work to do all the time. So they kind of lucked out. And yeah, so, yeah. Anyway, I will talk to you guys later, and I hope you guys have a good night. This has been a learning lesson for me, and I don't feel that great about it. um, but I think when people make little errors and they make mistakes or boo-boos, right, it's not supposed to be a good feeling anyway. Yeah, it's just didn't really think about a lot of stuff. So, yeah, you guys take care. See ya.